Well, welcome everyone to my Wisdom Wednesday, where I hope to inspire you to grow into a better version of who you were yesterday. I am Christine Bongiovanni-Stiff, certified life coach, and I just love sharing all the stuff that I have learned and am applying in my life because it's been just so empowering for me that I hope that you can take a little piece of it into your days and apply it and see what magic it does for you. So today I'm talking about changing beliefs and what you're focusing on. So if you think about it, most of us are living on default. We're not really paying attention to our thoughts and the effect that they're having on us. We get up in the morning, we go to work, we do our thing, we come home, do our thing, go to bed, and get up and repeat. And we're not super intentional on what it is we want in our life. We have these dreams, we have these hopes, these things we want to do, and hope that someday we'll be able to get to do them. And yet they're just dreams, right? That is all they are because we don't fully commit to the belief that we can achieve those dreams. And we think, oh, we'll have more time later after the kids are out of the house or after I retire. And I'm just going to tell you a little tidbit from my grandmother Rose. It doesn't slow down. It will just keep getting faster. And so it's time to just take control of your life and your beliefs and start changing them. So it is possible to stop this cycle. But first you have to ask, what are you even dreaming of? Like becoming aware of what it is that you want out of this life. Do you want a happier marriage? Do you want a better job? Do you want to start your own business? Do you want more time to do the things that you love instead of just wishing you had more time? Do you want to create that time? Do you want to get to your natural body weight and let go of your food relationship? Do you want to stop over drinking? So to begin to get to your dreams, your goals, the first thing that I'm going to suggest that you do is start becoming aware of what you're currently believing. So you might be believing that you're going to be with this company forever, and you've just resigned to staying in this job that you don't enjoy, that doesn't bring you any joy. You might be saying, I'm unhappy in my relationship, or my husband is unlovable. Or maybe you're thinking you have this belief that you're never going to lose the body weight that you have, extra body weight that you have on you. And that if you do, you're not going to be able to keep it off. So why bother? Or that you love having a drink after a hard day. And that's a fine thought, unless you also have the competing thought that you don't want to drink during the week, or you just don't want the drinks to control you, like to be that pull, and like you have no control over it. So the first thing that I want to tell you to do is just be aware of these thoughts. Once you start becoming aware, so let's just use the drinking example, that you love having a drink after a hard day, but you have told yourself that you don't want to drink maybe Monday through Thursday, let's say you don't want to have a drink. But let's say that you have been, or maybe not consistently, but you tend to. So you get home from a day at the office, you get into your comfies, you go to the cupboard, open it and grab the bottle of wine, open the bottle of the wine, pour yourself a glass. And all of a sudden, 2 glasses later, maybe you realize that again, you drank and you said you weren't going to. So if you come home, you get into your comfies and you just start to realize what your brain is telling you. Like, hey, Chris, it would be nice to have a drink. You deserve this. It's been a long day. And just being aware of it. Now, to begin with, you might just still do what you've always done. Pour that glass of wine, sit down, and then regret it afterwards. But then eventually you'll continue to be aware, and maybe you'll feel comfortable enough to be uncomfortable with saying, no, I'm not going to have a drink, and just feeling what comes up with that. But that first step of just being aware of what's going on and how you're on autopilot, it's like, brushing your teeth. You just do it. If you have a bedtime routine, you just do that routine. Getting behind the wheel of this dangerous machine and just driving. You don't think anything of it, right? But as you start becoming aware of what you're doing, you actually start using your human brain, the part of our brain as humans that allows us to think about things. We've been blessed with this brain. And what you have been doing is you've just been using your lower brain. You're on autopilot. I use this example for a lot of people when I was working on not over desiring chocolate. I would find myself standing in front of the chocolate in the grocery store. Not even like it wasn't on my list to get. I hadn't said, hey, let's go look at the chocolate. I just automatically ended up there because that's what I always did. Every time I went to the store, almost every time, right? So a lot of times I'm just like, wow, I'm spacing out in front of the chocolate, wondering why I got here. So as you start just using your brain, you start becoming aware, and you're using your prefrontal cortex to already start to change. And then you can start rehearsing some new believable thoughts, like with the example of my husband is unlovable. You might not be able, it depends upon how long you've been thinking this. The more you think this thought, the more it becomes a truth. You find evidence in the fact that he is unlovable. And you are not going to be able to go right to my husband is amazing, like the opposite of that. He is totally lovable. And so what I want to suggest is you've got these two things. Like you want to someday believe that my husband is totally lovable, everything about him. And right now you're believing that he's unlovable. So you have to start making, or what you want to start doing is coming up with what I call some bridge thoughts. So you have a bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And you start to come up with some thoughts that might be a little more believable. Like you might say, I'm thinking the thought that my husband is unlovable. And so I apologize, I didn't shut my notifications off. So with that, when you're saying, I am thinking the thought that my husband is unlovable, you're actually interrupting that original thought a little bit and actually saying out loud that you realize it's a thought, that it's maybe not the truth. There's probably a whole lot of people that think your husband is totally lovable. And then you might be able to go to the thought that I might be wrong about my husband. And then as you just keep changing those thoughts till they're to the point where you believe that your husband is totally lovable. And that's what a bridge thought is. So with some of the examples, it's when with your job is it's possible that I could love my job. Maybe you loved it at some point when you first got it, you were in love with your job, right? I'm thinking the thought that I won't ever find a better job. I might be wrong about my marriage. I'm becoming the person that believes I can get to my natural body weight and stay there the rest of my life. Someday I'm going to come home from work after a day at work and not have a drink. So the brain focuses on what we think, and that's the whole point. When you're thinking my husband's unlovable, you're going to find evidence for that. When you're thinking the thought that I'm thinking the thought that my husband is unlovable, you're going to notice that you're thinking that thought, and you might actually think, what do I love about my husband? And so question for you is, what are you filling your brain with? Junk or empowerment? And it doesn't really matter what one you're choosing. The beautiful thing is that you have the power to start filling it with what you want to fill it with. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments or direct message me. On Fridays, I do a live on Facebook and on Instagram where I answer those questions. And also, I would love to dig deeper on any of these things that I talk about in a free discovery session. So if you have never coached with me in the past and you're curious about what it might look like for you, book a session. I offer 3 a week. I believe I have 2 more left next week. I would love to chat with you. And if you go to my bio, there is a link right in the bio for signing up. Have an amazing day. Ciao.